and industry stakeholders agree that demand needs to be the industry's top priority, which is why the National Pork Board is investing significantly in growing demand and launching a new consumer campaign this spring to ensure pork remains relevant and desirable in the marketplace. I'm Brownfield's Megan Grebner. With me today is Dr. David Newman, Senior Vice President for Market Growth at the National Pork Board. And we're going to talk about the checkoff's most recent work to build a bigger appetite for pork here at home. David, it is so great to see you.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for having me.
David, you teased the new consumer marketing campaign that's going to be launching in early May. What is the new tagline that's coming for consumers and for pork producers to be excited about?
Sure. That's the question we field every day. So what is it? And I'm excited that we can finally talk about it. And right around my shirt, we have the iconic pork logo, which is still be included in our brand tagline because it's very recognizable to consumers and to producers. But the new tagline is actually taste what pork can do. And I will tell you, when we start thinking about a tagline, you almost have to say it to yourself over and over again. But we need everyone to understand is this wasn't done in a vacuum. It wasn't done in a silo in Clive, Iowa. This was done using data, using consumer testing, and really focusing in on what drives the future consumer the most. And that's when we start breaking this tagline apart. Taste what pork can do. Here's what the Consumer Connect data that we talked about last year so much says. With younger consumers in purchasing food and in purchasing pork, the non-negotiables with them is it has to be focused on taste and flavor. It has to have a message about versatility or convenience, and it also needs to lend to nutrition or balance. So when you think about taste, obviously, we have a very strong taste, especially if you think about our affinity to bacon, right? We have the taste component, but when we say taste what it can do, it can be more than just a traditional holiday ham. It can be part of Asian cuisine, Mexican cuisine, Italian cuisine, and that's oftentimes how the younger generations think about pork. So it's exciting, and it's an opportunity for us to think differently as an industry.
So how does this campaign differ from some of those other major national campaigns that the National Pork Board has in the pork checkoff have been behind?
Sure. An important call out is what is different this time. And the first thing I want to tell you is that none of this is to disparage the previous work of the checkoff. Actually, the reality is when we have been in market and marketing pork and promoting pork, which is literally part of the act and order, the guidelines by which we follow every day, pork promotion, research, and education, that marketing worked. And we saw a return on investment for our producers. But the reality is we have not been present in the domestic marketplace with a national brand campaign in almost 10 years. So this is about coming back and doing it. So what is different? First, we have more data than we've ever had. We built a data and insights engine, our business intelligence unit at the Pork Board, to understand what drives consumers. Who are they? Where are they? How do they shop? How do they think? So we have a tremendous amount of data. The second thing is in the brand position, we're taking an unapologetic position. We're not the other anything, Megan. This is not about comparing ourselves to other proteins. This is about saying pork is a really unique position globally. Remember, we are still the number one protein in the world in consumption, right? We're number one in the world. We're number 3 in the US. So we've got some room to grow. But when you think about this unapologetic position, it's about saying, let's celebrate what makes pork, what makes people love it, and let's move forward. So having the data in control, having that unapologetic position, and then candidly, having the support of producers, our brand ambassadors, and our board of directors to trust us to invest their money to promote the only thing they make is really a strong position. And the last thing I would say is, in the previous campaigns, we have not always utilized building a brand strategy ourselves. And now that we have built a business intelligence unit with data and insights, we didn't hand this off to an agency partner and say, tell us about our consumer. Rather, We built the brand strategy in-house in partnership with an agency who can help with creative content and a media strategy, etc. So really knowing the business and applying a very disciplined approach to this is how we know that this is the right direction to turn the industry forward.
Moving forward, how do producers embrace that unapologetic attitude about pork and that mindset in making this campaign even more successful?
Yeah. Well, first off, this is the 40-year anniversary of the checkoff. So started in 1985. So it's a milestone moment. And the way I position this is we don't raise pigs the way we did 40 years ago. Our consumer is not the same as they were 40 years ago. So this is about understanding who our new consumer is and really rallying behind that. So again, this is about making sure that one, our producers are proud of the investment and that they can become brand ambassadors, right? Understanding that this is not for them. This is about them. Most of the population of this country is in high population density areas where there's not a lot of pork production. So we're going to focus very strategically with the dollars we have to drive that future consumer where they live. Think California, Texas, New York, Florida, up the coasts, very important, where you have these large population centers. So understanding that this is about the younger consumer, understanding that this is also about the farmer, and making sure that we can position their brand the best way to drive volume and value is really important. Because at the end of the day, being a third generation producer myself, taking this role and the checkoff dollars that are invested very seriously, I always say we have to figure out a way to drive value and return on investment for our producers, or it didn't work. So it's we're planting that flag internally also to say this can't just look good. It has to work, and it will. And it will.
This is so laser focused as you're working to reach new consumers. So what is the goal, or how are you going to connect with younger consumers specifically?
Sure. Well, in our consumer segmentation study, I mentioned this before, the consumers have 3 non-negotiable factors that they must be at: taste and flavor, balance, which is nutrition, and then convenience and versatility. So this again is about understanding who they are. And in the consumer segmentation, we actually broke that into 7 different consumer groups. So there's groups like, I think you and I probably fall into the same group, which is probably the culinary adventurer, people who want to try different ingredients. They're comfortable with pork. They're comfortable with trying a dish like, pork dumplings on their own, or a ramen bowl on their own. But then you have different categories. There's another category called the simple feeders. These are people who don't like to cook, but they're a huge consumer base for us. And they eat out a lot, but they also say, just get me through this meal. And within each one of these segments is a very, very deep dive on the consumer itself. So when we take a digital approach, and this is a mostly digital approach to the market, we will be able to drill in deep and be able to actually target those individual consumers with pork ads that are relevant to them, whether it's nutrition that drives them, it's flavor that drives them, or it's convenience and versatility.
David, anything else you want to add today?
I think that it's just important. Again, the most important thing for our producer audience and the broader ag community, to me, is that we understand that this is something new. This is a radical reposition. So building brand ambassadors and creating some excitement around this for our producers is really important. And I'm excited on behalf of the pork industry to help represent this new brand. And I'm also excited that we do have broad industry support. We did this with the help of industry partners throughout the country. So this is a big moment for the pork business. It's a big moment moving forward for our industry. And I'm excited to come back and talk about ROI and talk about the business metrics that we're going to measure to continue propelling the pig business forward for the next 40 years in this business. So I would just say, I would say that and say thank you for your time.
David, thank you. And it's always great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for talking with us today about how the pork checkoff is building a bigger appetite for U.S. pork. And for those who want to find out more information about what pork checkoff is doing, go to porkcheckoff.org.